And good evening. Are we ready to roll? Okay, I will call the meeting to order. Will you do the roll call, please?
Mr. Albright,
Here.
Mr. Arnold,
Here.
Mrs. Bruderly, here, Mrs. Greatorex,
Here.
Ms. Fangras, here, Mr. Lundy,
Here.
Mrs. Rivera,
Here.
Mr. Naughton,
Here.
Mr. Patel.
Here.
Okay, next on the agenda is the approval of the meeting minutes. Your packet includes the meeting minutes from 2/7/2022 as well as the meeting on 2/16/2022.
I move that the Board of Education approve the meeting minutes from 2/7/22 and the special meeting minutes from 2/16/2022 as presented.
A second. Any discussion? Seeing no discussion, we'll move to working vote. All those in favor of approving the meeting minutes from the meetings on February 7th and February 16th, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. The minutes have been approved. Next is the approval of the agenda.
I move that the Board of Education approve the agenda as presented. I'll second.
Any discussion? Okay. All those in favor of approving the agenda, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. All right, we'll move on to our school presentations. The board will recognize students who were selected for all-state high school band and all-state middle school band, and we have a performance.
I just want to say welcome to Mr. Dammit. It's so great to have our students back here at a board meeting. Thank you very much. It's been a long time.
I just wanted to say thank you real quick. Again, my name is Mr. Dammit, one of the band directors here. Thank you, board, for having us this evening for presentation and look at the support that we have here this evening. So thank you everybody for being here. Here we have Jasmine on flute and Victoria on clarinet. They're going to be playing two short pieces for you this evening. They just finished up solo ensemble, the solo ensemble, and they're going to be performing a piece called Erie Canal. The second one is Mini March.
Thank you so much. We have some certificates for,
I was hoping you had.
I do.
Okay.
So I'll just call the names and then come up and receive them. So from our middle school, we have Kirsten Zaski. This is for All-State. This is for All-State Middle School Honors Band.
we have Catherine Most.
And for our high school, we have Audrey Hudson. Colin Johnson. Annie Nielsen. Kelvin Uphoff. And Yuma Subuchi.
Already get the height of it.
Yep.
Mara. Thanks. Congratulations.
Great job.
Thank you so much for coming tonight. I know how much hard work you put into that honor, and we were so delighted to finally get a school presentation. So that was really awesome.
Thank you.
Board and administration, thank you so very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Great job.
So next on our agenda, we have the first opportunity for public participation. Before we move on to public participation, I would like to review the policy 0167.3, which is public participation at board meetings, just to follow the guidelines. The Board of Education recognizes the value of public comment on educational issues and the importance of allowing members of the public to express themselves on district matters. To prevent fair and orderly public expression, the board shall provide 2 periods for public participation at public meetings of the board and 1 period for public participation at committee meetings. The board shall publish rules to govern such participation in board meetings and in board committee meetings. The rules shall be administered and enforced by the presiding officer of the meeting. Presiding officer shall be guided by the following rules. A, public participation shall be permitted at a time as indicated on the agenda and is determined by the presiding officer. Anyone with concerns related to the operation of the schools or to matters within the authority of the board may participate during the public portion of the meeting. Participants shall direct all comments to the board and not to staff or other participants. The presiding officer may prohibit public comments which are frivolous, repetitive, or harassing, interrupt, warn, or terminate a participant's statement when the statement is too lengthy, personally directed, abusive, obscene, or irrelevant. Request any individual to leave the meeting when that person is used in a manner that is disruptive of the orderly conduct of the meeting. General rules for public participation. Individuals will be recognized by the board president or presiding chair when it is their opportunity to address the board. Each speaker will be asked to announce their names and affiliation before beginning to speak. One speaker may not yield their time to another. No person may speak more than once at either commentary opportunity. No person may speak more than once on the same subject during a single meeting. A large group plans to attend, they are encouraged to select up to 5 representatives to speak on their behalf. Persons who wish to address the board at board meetings should complete the public comment card or green sheet. Green sheets are available on the district website, from the superintendent's office, and at all meeting locations. This form should be presented to the board president or presiding chair at the beginning of the meeting or beginning of the public participation. While members of the board and district employees will not answer questions or comments during public participation, the superintendent or board president may make a statement of clarification. Persons requesting an individual response shall note the request on the public comment card and include appropriate contact information. Citizens with concerns or complaints about school employees should use protocol outlined in Board Policy 9130. Citizen complaints. Citizens are encouraged to utilize established channels before bringing the matter to the school board. Employees have contractual and legal rights and may request a closed meeting complaints reach the board level. Speakers addressing the board shall take into consideration rules of common courtesy. Speakers who make attacks of a personal nature and or who do not abide by rules of common courtesy will be reminded of such rules by the board president or presiding chair. Such individuals may be asked to leave the meeting if their behavior is disruptive or interferes with the orderly progress of the meeting. Audio or video recordings are permitted subject to the following conditions. No obstructions are created between the board and the audience. No interviews are conducted in the meeting room while the board is in session. No commentary, adjustment of equipment, or positioning of operators is made that would distract either the board or members of the audience while the board is in session. The person operating the recording device should contact the superintendent prior to the board meeting to review possible placement of the equipment. The first public commentary scheduled at the beginning of all board meetings and workshops shall be limited to an accumulated time of 30 minutes. Time may be extended at the discretion of the board president or presiding chair. Individual speakers will be allotted a maximum of 5 minutes. However, the time may be reduced if a large number of people wish to address the board. In these instances, the number of speakers will be divided equally into the 30-minute time limit. For example, if 10 persons wish to address the board, each individual will be given 3 minutes. Second opportunity for public commentary scheduled near the end of all board meetings shall be limited to an accumulated time of 15 minutes. Time may be extended at the discretion of the board president or presiding chair. Persons who wish to address the board shall, during the second opportunity for public participation, shall form a line at a location to be designated and will be recognized by the board president or presiding chair in the order of assembly. Individuals will be allotted a maximum of 3 minutes. However, the time may be reduced if a large number of persons wishes to address the board. Then it goes on to virtual meetings, which we're not yet. I just wanted to remind everybody of that. So, are there any persons in the audience who would like to comment? Yes.
Do you want this now or?
Sure.
Okay, hi, I'm Carissa Keller. I'm a parent here in the district. And I'd like to circle back to how the ESSER 3 plan was established. After inquiring about this issue at the February 7th Board of Ed meeting, Dr. Timmis established that the November 4th State of the District Zoom meeting was what was used to tick the box of including all stakeholders. I've had a chance to process this, and it truly doesn't sit well with me. So I'm just speaking about this again. I attended the particular State of the District Zoom meeting, and I appreciate and I remember the opportunity to give comments via the Thought Exchange app that we had to access with the QR code. I am appreciative of that, truly. However, it was not clear at that State of the District meeting that it was specifically for ESSER 3, because it wasn't. That meeting included multiple other topics. So today I thought, let me go see the Thought Exchange information, and maybe I'm missing something. Maybe like, it could be just me. I mean, I'm kind of new to coming to these meetings. And so I found the Thought Exchange, and the first Thought Exchange from that State of the District Zoom meeting had 41 participants and 80 thoughts. The highest rated thoughts are this. Number 1, teach history, science, math, English, leave your politics at home. 2, lose the masks. Emerging readers are at risk. 3, all health decisions are private. Admin has no business strong arming students to get a vax. 4, stay away from critical race theory. 5, stop treating vax and unvax differently. 6, teachers should not infuse their political feelings. I went on to look through all of the other thoughts. You know, there really wasn't anything specifically towards ESSER. Then I went to the second thought exchange, and that one included 46 participants and 66 thoughts. Highest rated, number one, teachers should stop pushing their political agenda on students. Number two, the problem isn't systemic racism in Dexter, it's slipping expectations and lost class time. 3, respect the health, privacy of all families. 4, some students are going through multiple quarantines when they are not sick, have negative tests, does that seem right? And number 5, and the top 5 highest rated was, why aren't IEPs or 504s being followed? Those students need the most help during these uncertain times. As a former special ed teacher, I truly hope the parent who wrote that question found some solutions. I find that alarming. I went on to look through the rest of the thought exchange, those 66 thoughts. There were 4 comments, number 18, 28, 31, and 40 that were specifically about ESSER III funds. 2 comments talking about the summer programming, and which is great. And then 2 other comments are about ESSER, more social workers and psychologists. Great suggestions, of course. There was a lot to unpack at that State of the District Zoom meeting. I understand that, that checks the box of following the rules to receive these funds. But I'm frustrated because it really wasn't clear. Why wasn't there more than one way to access information from parents on this? What about those parents who were unable to attend this Zoom meeting? So Dr. Intimus and I had having some email exchanges and further explained that several smaller groups were utilized to dig deeper into how this money would be spent. I'm a parent in the district, therefore part of the biggest special interest group. It concerns me that perhaps my voice and my concerns weren't represented in these several smaller groups. Moving forward, I just ask that all stakeholders be surveyed or looped in a transparent way. Parents should be given more than one pathway to advocate for their child. That's my legit concern. I've asked a couple of times in emails, and I'm asking here now in public, who is included in these several smaller groups? Who chose these individuals for these several smaller groups? What method was used to handpick only certain individuals for these several smaller groups? Why wasn't there a survey specifically for ESSER III funding sent out to all parents? The ones who are, your biggest special interest group. I've asked these questions multiple times in an email, and I don't get an answer. And I think that's why I'm frustrated. I think anyone here, if you ask somebody a question, you would expect an answer. So that's where my frustration lies, the lack of transparency. It's really hard, to keep putting my trust here when simple questions aren't even answered. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other people who would like to comment or speak? All right, we will move on to administrative report updates, starting with superintendent.
So this morning, we were able to share out a nice start of the week from a group of Wiley students in our Spark classroom, Mrs. Beaver's class, and in Mrs. Bowman's class. Sorry, I saw that was wrong.
Their audio work.
Everybody see that one? Can you click? What? So the Mrs. Bowman and Mrs. Beaver's class, it's a great little video. It's a Great way to start.
Use your mind to be kind, be smart, use your heart, intent to be a friend, then do it all over again. Use your mind to be kind, be smart, use your heart, intent to be a friend, kindness never ends. Even if someone asks me to be, kindness is my guide on how to be. I can use words that are encouraging and pick someone up who is in need. Use your mind to be kind, be smart, use your heart, intent to be a friend, then do it all over again. Use your mind to be kind, be smart, use your heart, intent to be a friend, kindness never ends. We all need someone who's listening. We can all be friends and not bully. We can use kind words like thanks and please. And be kind to the animals, plants, and trees. Use your mind to be kind. Be smart. Use your heart. Intent to be a friend. Then do it all over again. Use your mind to be kind. Be smart. Use your heart. Intent to be a friend. Kindness never ends. Treat others how you want to be treated, and your kindness can be repeated. In a world where you can be many things, be kind. A message from your friends and mine. Use your mind to be kind. Be smart. Use your heart. Intent to be a friend. Then do it all over again. Use your mind to be kind. Be smart. Use your heart. Intent to be a friend. Kindness never ends. Use your mind to be kind. Be smart. Use your heart. Intent to be a friend. But do it all over again. Use your mind to be kind. Be smart. Use your heart. Intent to be a friend. Kindness never ends. Intent to be a friend. Kindness never ends.
So that was just a nice way to start the week off. Our kids are doing some great things in school, and that was a group of third and fourth graders. In other little updates, we have a set of bid documents out to replace asphalt and pavement throughout the district. The bids, when they come back, we'll have to make decisions. We set it up on what are the base bids and then what are alternates based on the cost. So for example, the Jenkins parking lot, we have some areas that we need to fully grind down and completely replace. We have areas that we just need to grind and repave. We have Wiley parking lot. You can see there's some spots that are in pretty bad shape. So we have some parking lot work to do. This will probably come in $1 million plus this entire bid, so it's going to be sizable. We have Mill Creek. We have some parking lot work we need to do. Some is patch, some is full. Over at the high school, we have entrance and some entranceway work that really needs to be done in sections, so you can see marked up on the sections. And then at Alrit, we have bids out for visitor bleachers, but it's in two combos. We need to redo the base because currently they're kind of just sitting on ground. That's why they haven't been touched forever. So we need to redo the base. So that's part of the pavement bid. But then we also need to set up a way to be, we're going to have to shift them to get around a drain. We're going to have to shift around a light post because the distance is different on new bleachers and for ADA compliance. And then we have as an alternate, we have this top section, which is a raised area for handicap seating. Because if we do, for example, on the home side, it's higher already. On the visiting side, they're to the ground. So the actual accessibility seating is looking straight into the players. So we want to raise it up. We just need to see what the actual cost is and how we're going to piece it all together with the asphalt. So you can see the setup of the bleachers. So those are out and bids are due next week. Meanwhile, we ordered today, or no, late last week, we ordered 2 tool cats. I don't know if you've ever seen those things that drive around. Oh, hey, you can pick that up. They were $72,000 each. So they'll last another 15, 20 years. We do everything with those. We move everything around the campus with them. We clean snow with them. We do everything. We ordered 3 mowers. We have 360 acres. So we can't just get a regular mower. We get $28,000 diesel mowers. So they can handle the wear and tear. We ordered 3 plows, 4 poly spreaders for salt, and a gator. If anybody has seen our gator, it has seen better days. There's times where we need to get a player somewhere and we're trying to get it started. So it's time. We've gotten 25 years out of it or so. It takes a beating. So that was $277,000 worth of work. Items that we ordered. We also are working on turf bleachers at the Twin Turfs, and we're trying to get bids to be able to get smaller bleachers in that are movable. That will move with tool cats. We have today was the first day of mass strongly recommended. CDC came out late Friday and removed the order for buses. Still on federal transportation like planes, et cetera, but school buses were removed. We have a scientific survey that'll be conducted with the community, checking on communication systems and perceptions, et cetera, that'll give us, it's a 15 to 18-minute survey. It'll have a random selected sample and actual interviews, and it'll give us a ±5% confidence interval, but then we'll follow up with another broader survey that it won't be scientifically reliable, but it'll give us good data to work off of that we'll send out to the entire community.
What's the survey?
We just every few years we do some kind of perception survey of the district. So this we'll do 2 layers of it. We'll do the scientific one, and then we'll do the broad just Google survey that doesn't have, because of the nature, if you don't have a random selected sample, you can't apply a confidence interval. It just is open to whoever answers instead of making sure you get a good cross section. We are.
Well, that's so the scientific survey would be a cross section of the community.
Yeah, it's randomly selected. Won't only be parents. It'll be members of the community. Epic MRI. They do survey work all over the state. And then we are planning to mail every week. We send out twice a week. We send out the Making Waves. We do it digitally. We're putting together a complete publication to send out so that it gets to non-parents and we can get it through the whole community to just share some of the great things we have going on in the schools, which would be really nice to see, especially Melanie does a phenomenal job with it, and to have them all together, it'll be great to do that a couple times a year. Craig's also working on finalizing bids and quotes to replace the ovens, stove tops in our life skills rooms. And we're working on how to get, so we have a childcare class that we teach, but we don't have the babies. We have real babies, but we're not giving our high school kids real babies. The babies are about $1,800 each. So there's a set we've historically borrowed, but the set has seen, it's not. So we're trying, there's only one vendor for the babies, which is making it kind of complicated. So Craig's still navigating how to purchase life skills babies for our classes, because we do need them. And then last, graduation, statewide graduation rates came out. They were finally released. Back in 2013 or 14, our graduation rate was down around the 89-90% range. It's currently at the high school 98.2, and across all district programs 97%. When it's broken down on a 4-year graduation, 4-year cohort. So as soon as a student starts 9th grade, the ticker starts, and they have 4 years to finish for that calculation. So what happens is if a student ends up moving or homeschooling or something, sometimes we can't track them down. to be able to show where they actually went. Out of state's always a challenge. Last year during the pandemic, if we looked at our students that do not have an IEP, so we do have students that will not finish in 4 years because they have cognitive impairment. They're severely impaired that it's just going to take a little while. So those students, if we take and look at our students without IEPs, we were at 99.6%. We had one kid, which during a pandemic was pretty good. We're really happy about that. We're going to continue working to improve that. We don't want anybody to. So we're going to keep working, and it's been a point of focus over the years, and it's really that focus is paying off. It changes lives for kids. Part of our programming options with Alt Ed, our ECA program, even our early middle college helps provide other options for kids. The pathways we've done through 5th through 8th grade really has set up a lot of kids to be successful that if we break down the data may have struggled. So we've done a lot to be able to help our kids, and we want to continue working on it. So that's the update. We're back in school for the week. We're hoping for no snow. We'd like to go to school on a Friday again. Last week we made it through on a Friday. It's nice. Sorry for students. We'd like to be in school.
Next on the agenda, board president's update. I'm feeling I use my time reading the policy. So move on to.
So at Anchor Beacon, shared leadership and equity team taught students about Black History Month and how other youth have made an impact in society. The Hall Heroes include descriptions of Wilma Rudolph, who ran track for Team USA in 1956 and 1960, and Martin Luther King Jr. The purpose of this was to get students thinking about how they can make an impact. Additionally, a music group called Common Chords came to sing songs and tell stories.
In the high school right now, senior survival is coming up around the corner. That's every year. Forward to that for everyone. And then the Shutterbox charity event is starting up soon. I think it might have already started. And then Creekside game day for the Melbourne Brown team happened at the end of their math projects. I think I touched on that in the previous meeting. They had these long math projects going, and it ended with them having a game day for them, testing all their projects. And then in Mill Creek, they had to reschedule their wellness day due to a snow day to March 9th. And right now, the enrollment process for next year's class has begun. That's all it's doing updates.
Thank you, gentlemen. Okay, we'll move on to our consent items. These are one consent item, which is receiving the January budget report.
I move that the Board of Education receive the January 2022 budget report.
I'll second.
Any discussion? Seeing no one rushing to discussion, we will put the consent items receiving the January 2022 budget report to a vote. All those in favor of receiving the January budget report, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, say nay. That's received. Moving on to our action items, which starts off with the MESB Board of Directors election. Your packet includes a list of MASB Board of Directors. We are in Region 7, so our Region 7 candidates and an election booklet. The board must elect and vote for a candidate no later than 1 p.m. on March 2nd. So we have 3 candidates. Guillermo Lopez is the incumbent. He is from Lansing School District in County. We have Susan Marlon Zilber from Monroe Public Schools, and then we have a little closer to home. We have Michael McKay. He is in Slovenia area schools in Washington County. So we need a motion and then we discuss.
Sorry for interrupting.
So I guess we need a
Motion
motion.
to discuss, yeah. I'll make a motion to discuss the merits.
I'll second.
All those in favor of discussing the 3 available candidates, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay.
so I saw we got emails from Mr. Lopez and Mr. Day. Did anybody get one from Miss Marlon Belzer? I might have missed. Okay, so that stood out to me, that those two took that opportunity to introduce themselves individually. Not to get down on her, she only has one. So ambitious, very ambitious, and I applaud that, but I would think that comment. I guess. Oh, I'm so sorry. I just said that Ms. Zilser is she only has 1 year on the board, and so although that's ambitious to want to run for this, that would be a little bit of a hesitation on my part. I was speaking over here. That's fine.
I was just curious whether anyone knew any of them personally. I've been in meetings for Mr. McVeigh. I don't know him personally. Okay, yeah, I was just curious whether anyone had. It is really challenging, I feel like, to select candidates in this way. It is hard. You know, I have a general appreciation for everyone who puts themselves out there to do more and to be part of things. And especially at the NASB level, to just want to be able to be part of helping school boards. So I think my general feeling is that anyone who puts themselves out here to do this is going to have a nice intention, I guess, we would say it. So I don't have any particular concern about it.
I would just say that, kind of, everything that's going on with funding and the teachers, lack of teachers, lack of bus drivers, all the stuff that's going on that's being discussed at the state legislative level. Again, I don't know any of them. I've seen them today just on the ISD Zoom meetings. Guillermo Lopez was at the Manson, but I don't know personally. So I would say with me, for Susan Marlin, 1 year on the board, she might not have the experience we're looking for. So that's all I'm saying. And then Michael McVeigh, he's got 5 years experience. He just took over the WISD presidency last year, I believe. So I kind of like to see someone kind of stay where they're at a little bit before jumping further in. And then, the incumbent's guy, he's been around for a while. I'm not sure how long he's been up as ASB representative for our region. He's been on board for 22 years. And I go back to, I kind of want to see some of the experience just because there's going to be a lot of different parts moving around again this legislative session around, and a lot of stuff. And there was one comment that one of the parents wrote in about, so I can go to that. Take what it's worth, with all the board members. So, for me, I would vote for Mr. Lopez.
My initial thought was Mr. Lopez as well, although I was actually intrigued by Zilser because of her lack of experience, kind of a fresh voice. She's a current teacher. She has had foster kids, 3 kids of her own. She's currently a teacher, so maybe the fresh voice to me was intriguing. I would be on board with any of them. Mr. Lopez probably is one of the first ones.
Anyone else have anything to add to the discussion? You want to add some other points? I agree with Brian to think that sometimes people who have a new voice to sort of are able to point out things that might have not running into that rut if we always do it this way. So I do appreciate that, and again, as you said, I will say that I ran for this a couple years ago, and it is hard right now, and that I have to really reach out to people. Anyone else have any other discussion? discussion. And then the other motion to make.
Almonds plus discussion.
I support. So there's a move, a motion and seconded to close discussion. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed say no. Are there any other motions?
I'll move for, that the Board of Education vote for, Mr. Guillermo Lopez, the electronic ballot that the Board of Director election that goes on March 2.
Second that motion.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any further discussion? All right, here's my vote. All those in favor of selecting for Dexter Community School Board candidate Guillermo Lopez, say aye. Aye. All those opposed, say nay. All right. Moving on to the next action item is the IDEA full funding resolution. 1975, Congress passed the Individuals with Disabilities Education Act to ensure that every child with a disability has access to educational opportunities. The legislative pledge fund 40% of the cost of special education services has never been met, and costs fall to state and local governments. The IDEA or IDEA Full Funding Act of 2021 currently being considered by Congress will require yearly increases to the funding for IDEA programs so that the federal government reaches an annual appropriation of 40% of the cost of special education services in 10 years. Your packet includes a sample resolution indicating the Board of Education support for this bill.
I move that the Board of Education adopted attached resolution called resolution in support of the IDEA full funding act.
Second.
Is there any discussion?
I did just have a question about where this would go from here.
We would send it to our federal representatives.
For funding or just for?
We would send the board's resolution to all of our state representatives at the federal level.
I do have a question after this. Where are we currently? So it says if we can get to 40% within 10 years. Do you know what's the level that is currently?
When IDEA was initially passed, the law stated that the federal government would pay up to 40% of the cost. They're currently around 14%. So it is a mandate across the country that is not funded other than locally. And it does create issues for kids. And some of the issues, even something simple like schools of choice. So with schools of choice law, what happens is a school district can participate in schools of choice and take students from within the county. They can also accept students from contiguous ISDs, unless that student has an IEP. If they have an IEP, there has to be a cost sharing agreement from the resident district to the educating district. Then to layer on, what happens is because special education costs are funded from the state and then mostly locally, the local plans for special ed funding say that a local district cannot pay for an out-of-county student's education with special education. So the fact that you're saying you have to enter into an agreement is actually held up by the way the funds are set up. So you have a natural discriminatory process happening that's in the law. And if this is one of the layers to help address it, is to get what was passed as federal law to actually pay part of the cost, a portion, only 40% even. And when we look at special education costs, we do whatever we have to do to help our kids. So we have students that have full-time nurse, they have a full-time nurse, a para, there may be 3 students in the class. I mean, we really do provide services. We do extended year services, we do preschool services. We provide a tremendous service. and it's all locally funded. That is not, it's not equitable to kids that don't have a community like Washington County to fund. So if you look across the state and the country, there are districts that they may get the 14% of federal that goes to the states, which turns into about 30 or 40%. They may get 20 or 30% from local funding, and they're picking up the other 40% plus out of general fund dollars. So they're taking away programming they could offer all kids in order to fund something that should be funded. And that's the domino effect. So there's a bill in Congress that has a chance of passing because it's really the right thing to do. This is a chance to give a local board's voice on. Really, if the law exists at the federal level, should probably live up to the promise of when the law was passed. It wasn't even to pay for it all, it was just to pay up to 40%.
So we will put it to a vote. All those in favor that the Board of Education adopt the attached resolution called resolution in support of the IDEA full funding act, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, say nay. Next on our agenda, we have the discussion items, which are the summer enrichment. A phenomenal success of last year's pre-summer programs has led to a lot of requests for repeats this year. The cost of the Red Strong summer program is too high to repeat without additional funding. However, we would like to offer free recreation, athletics, and art camps this summer. Based on last year, we estimate the district's cost to offer these will be approximately $100,000. These camps target physical, mental, and social well-being while also providing contextual learning enrichment. Dr. Thomas is recommending that the Board of Education approve up to $100,000 in funding for summer recreation, athletics, and art camps for all ages. This item is presented for discussion this evening and will return for action at the March 17th meeting.
So last year we ran the Dreadstrong summer program, which was, it was a couple $1 million in the end. It was one-time funded from federal stimulus and ESSER dollars. Part of that plan is we ran, every student could choose 2 camps, and they were all priced at $100. Band, we gave $100 towards band camp. And what they were able to, this was from kindergarten up, and we were able to run a whole variety of camps in different athletic activities and arts and music. And what we'd like to do is offer that again. It was great to see the kids get that access, and they were able to try sports and try activities they might not have wanted to do before. And they were set up, we tried to keep them to 3 or 4 days, a few hours each day, and we rotated them so that kids could have a variety throughout the summer. Last year, we were not able to expand the choir. We had a little mishap. I think we pulled off something, but it wasn't what we planned on. It was a timing issue with staffing it, but we'd like to expand this out. Definitely run art camps, choir camps, and drama, orchestra, band, really talk with all of our different arts opportunities, and then the athletic opportunities, which the kids really enjoyed it. There were thousands of kids around the campus last summer, and it was great to see kids all engaged, and we removed a cost barrier. It was also easy for the teams because they didn't have to do all the individual planning for how they're going to collect dollars, and are they going to charge 120, or they're going to charge 78. I mean, we just said it's $100. You get 2. We ran everything, all the registration for community ed through our software, gave them their list. Here's who you got, and they were ready to go. It was great. Anybody that sent kids last year was really a great opportunity for kids. We'd like to do it again. It's $100,000 that would have to come out of general fund because we don't have stimulus funds for it. But I think this year, based on what we have unfilled positions, we can reallocate some funds to be able to do this.
That'll be in this budget.
Sharon, will we put that in this budget year or next year? Next year.
I had heard a lot of the coaches that ran the camps did so because the funds were putting into the athletic program for them.
That's what we'll do again.
But I heard that didn't necessarily happen all around, so how were those?
Should've.
Okay, I'll talk to you about.
Yeah, that should have.
Okay, so that's still the plan then is for the
Right.
funds to go to whoever's running that camp. So we got the.
Which actually, it's a unique fundraiser to run their program. Is we say, okay, we're gonna take district funds and we're gonna give you $100 a kid for the program into an activity account so that you can offset what you normally do in a fundraiser. But it allowed them, a lot of times the camps are a fundraiser. That's how they fund extra coaches or they fund extra equipment, et cetera. But it streamlined it significantly. And the coaches overall really liked it. They were able to get a ton of kids involved. They were able to really have kids try things.
Well, I think parents liked it too, because it was a one touch, like you could say, oh, there's all those camps right there. Versus trying to see them out.
Right.
So I know it was very popular.
Question, are there any, we've got a lot of programs, last year was a lot, right? Are there any reading or math programs for the grades to run this summer?
We always run some reading and math intervention, but we're looking at what we could do. We finally had some staff that started talking recently saying, if you want to put something together, I'll help put it together. Our challenge last year, we were able to, there were state grants that paid staff significantly to be able to spend the time. The challenge this summer is just capacity and people are tired. So we're hoping we can turn the corner there, but our teachers, we have to be able to staff it, and it'll be something smaller, but we'll offer, we always do intervention with students. We do that through our Title I, we'll do some through ESSER funds, and then through our 31A funds that we run every summer, opportunities that we support kids, especially in literacy, and then usually in math. We're still working on those plans. This one's way easier to set up. That's why I'm just bringing it now. The other ones we do normally because they're all tied into the grant fund.
One question on staffing, but coverage for, in the past, I think that the community ed has advertised some positions for kids, for high school kids to come and work, but it seems like, I might be remembering this wrong, but they had to pay a portion in order to participate, which seems, for much, I can't remember.
It's
They weren't
usually
being
fingerprint.
paid. Are you thinking of the junior counselors? Possibly. Yeah, it was for younger kids who couldn't quite be at home, but they were supported. They were not counted for ratio or anything like that. It was a program for kids that were between home time, being on their own, or needing a babysitter. So that was a transition program. Like 8th graders or 9th graders. I mean, it seems like you could have that level of student who isn't really eligible yet to work because they're not 15 or 16. But they still have skills to provide, read with another kid, reading buddies, things like that, help with that. I just feel like if we could encourage the multi-age learning in some way without charging them so that they get some, I don't know, $5, $10, I think there's something nice to possibly take advantage of that. I don't know. It's just an idea. I don't know if it's allowed.
So just to be really clear, you don't have any concerns then about this $100,000 in next year's budget if we're talking about allocating that out of next year's budget?
If we plan for it now, we'll plan accordingly.
In general, I'm in favor of it. We've heard probably dozens of people speak up about how much they like the programs. So it would seem to make sense. In the grand scheme of things, it's not that much money and it's some good services for all of the kids. So I like the idea.
That's what we found after running it last year. It was in the 91 to $100,000 range. And we calculated $100 times a kid, 3,600 kids. And then you added some extraneous costs that'll fall in, plan for people that sign up for 3, and they just, something happened in the system.
So it would be the same. Two camps.
Yeah, we'd like to try to.
In K through 12.
K-12. Extra students that were here, or it's hard for the youngest, like the young fivers, that's tricky. Because there's when they're four, sports are different. And arts are, that's challenging, but we'll figure out what we can offer, what I can say.
I guess I'll just say, I'll just double down on what Daniel said, which is I support the reading and math, intervention. If we could call that would be great. I know it's generally focused on the younger kids, but it'd be good.
We'll move on to our second opportunity for public participation. Just to remind, I'll just go through the real quick, where each speaker is allotted a maximum of 3 minutes for a total of 15 minutes unless otherwise notified. At this point, the meeting, those interested in making public comment will be asked to raise their hand or you can come up and submit your cheat sheet. Each speaker will be asked to announce their name, indicate if they represent an organization or agency. No person may speak more than once on the same subject during a single meeting. And those wishing to receive a personal response from the superintendent or the board must complete the public comment form. Is there anyone?
So board can preach. I had the privilege of going to visit a few other districts for meetings. Chelsea in particular struck a chord with me. 10 minutes in that meeting, they were talking about educational outcomes. They had 3 teachers in there talking about a literacy program they were working on, and that impressed me a lot. We've talked about this before. I've been up here 2 or 3 times. Been coming here for about a year. I remember one principal coming in and talking about a science program. We have got to make this an open line item agenda within the board's twice a month meeting where we talk about educational outcomes. Our kids are behind. Whether we want to admit it or not, they are. And if we don't talk about it and we don't start putting action in place, it's just going to continue. And I just feel like this is a group in the body that can help make that happen. Second thing is, I feel like we're getting back to normal somewhat. And I would really urge the board to push our principals, our administrators to start putting some fun back in kids' lives. I think of the prom, we're going to have the prom in Alred. I think we can do better. Can we have school dances? Can we do some things that we used to do in the past that I think it's time, right? And these kids deserve it. 2 years. And in fact, if you have a high schooler, they've missed out on a lot. So let's give them an opportunity. We have 3 months to make it happen. So I just urge you to help administrators push that on. So that's it.
Anyone else?
Okay. Connie Creech, I live here in the Dexter area. I have a daughter in school, day school. And I was sitting here listening tonight about the gator that's being purchased and the lawnmowers and all of that. I'm sure those are necessary items. I'm sure they're breaking down. Recently, I was looking through some of the support staff not salaries, what they're paid hourly. And I'm very concerned that there's still unpaid lunches. I saw something about 11 something an hour for the support staff. We're talking about, your lunch monitors and people like that, office people. And I started thinking that you could go to McDonald's and get paid more and probably get a paid lunch. So I'm sitting here listening about this money going here and this money going there. What about the people that every day have contact with kids? They make a difference every single day. Not that we don't need the gator or the mowers or anything, but I don't know, and I'm not privy to those conversations. I know that's a union thing sometimes, but what are we doing to attract those people and get people in that work with our kids, make the difference every day, retain them, give them good pay. It's something that's just, I've been thinking a lot about here the last couple weeks. So thank you very much.
Next, we have board comments.
Go first.
Raise your hand.
Couple things. I thought it was awesome having the All-State band members come in. Since I've only been on the board during the pandemic, so I haven't really seen a lot of the things that normally happen. So that was really, really cool to see them come in. The performances were really good. I was really impressed. I have no musical skill whatsoever, so I'm always impressed by anybody who can generate any kind of music. The other comment I have was just like to commend the administration, staff, educators on our really excellent graduation rate. It's one of the top in the state. I mean, we really can't get much higher, just one person higher. I think from where we've come in the last 6-7 years, I think it's really amazing.
I agree. It's really great to see the kids back in playing. That was my first year on, like I'm sorry. And for us, that was really awesome.
So last weekend, I had the opportunity to attend classes at the MASD Institute. I always like to say thank you to the district for supporting continuing education for members. I do think it's very valuable for us to have both better background and knowledge, and also to have time to connect with board members in other districts. And some of the opportunities that I had to talk to people this past weekend made me really appreciate the gap in this district, both as a parent and as a board member. Just thinking about the commitment that our staff shows to our kids, thinking about the diligence that our past boards have done to put us in a financial position, and the administration as well, where we could be talking about having opportunities for kids this summer. It really struck me, some of the conversations that are being had in other districts around the state right now. So I just wanted to say thank you to the administration and to all the past board members like Dick and in the many iterations of this board, whether we're here for a couple of years or for extended terms, it is just very clear that having consistency over time very much matters. And as a parent, I wouldn't have known that. And even as a board member, you sort of forget you're here for your little piece of time, and it's hard to see the trajectory until you see kind of the trajectories in other areas.
I'd like to make sure we get back on the, I agree with everyone. Prior to the incident open, we brought out the emergency operation plan. Then I know we got caught up with everything else and COVID masking, unmasking, requiring special board meeting. I just like to make sure we get that back on. We've seen a draft and we talked about putting a deadline for that. So I was going to make sure we.
That was the actual plan. We just updated it with the sheriff's department. Just got the final done. It by law doesn't have to be approved again. We could review it in closed session by law and then approve it, but it can't be made public. So we can do.
I would like to look at it, just to see what the updates were, see where we're at. Thanks. Just a reminder for anyone. The girls basketball team, I won't say play this year, but kick the butt all over the place. So they're started one at a title. I think it's the first time they've ever won this legitimate run this hard for a while. They're hosting too, so it's fun. Sports, again, everyone's got things to do in sports, but once they zero home match, and they go far. I'm sure there's other clubs. I
Sure. I just wanted to comment about the, Dexter has such a strong musical legacy that the parents of Colin Johnson, I was on in band with, and they were state honors and all of that. So it just shows how long the legacy happens when it comes to, comes all the way through it. And you got another kid spitting image of his dad, plays trombone just like his dad. It's just really cool to see that that just continues with Dexter. So it's just exciting.
Just to totally add to that, Collins proposed a piece or a proposition of an existing piece for the winter concert.
Yeah.
Thank you for coming. All right, so moving on, we have the information items. They're also included in your packet. And we do have a closed session. So we will move into closed session if we have a motion and a vote.
We're going to close session after 5 minutes.
Second.
I support
For
that.
purposes of discussing negotiations.
For all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Aye. Any opposed? Say nay. All right, after a 5-minute break, we will move into closed session. Thank you all.